Morning everyone. So today we are on to chapter 8 of the Dreamsnatcher. It's called Forgotten Roles. I'm very sorry today, my voice is a little bit croaky, so we're going to try and get through the whole chapter, but it is a bit long, so I might have to split it into two. Over the years, the gypsies had worn a path through the trees towards the glade, and as Moll walked down it beside Oak, the leaves on the beech trees shimmered in the sunshine, brushed into flutters by the morning breeze. Moll thought of the deep wood, so full of shadows and darkness compared to all this. She glanced around past the sprigs of cow parsley shooting up among the ferns that lined the path, hoping that Griff might be somewhere nearby, but he'd be resting in the hollow of a tree now, or curled up in the tangled undergrowth after his morning hunt, and she knew that no amount of whistling or calling would bring him close. Oak ducked beneath a low-hanging branch and looked back at Moll. "I'll need to start at the beginning for you to really understand," he said, "because you're part of something, Moll. Something that goes back a long, long time." Moll's heart quickened. Oak waited until they were walking side by side again. "Over 300 years ago, my ancestors, the Frogmores, came to Tanglefern Forest. They settled in the ancient wood inside the ring of sacred oaks, because they believed in the old magic said to be rooted here, the magic that stirred before the beginning of time in the silence of the first dawn." He looked around. "It's been here ever since, this magic. It's in the spirits of the wind and the trees, in the gurgling of the rivers, and the grains of the soil. You only have to lay your head against the earth to hear the old magic moving and turning. It's the goodness and the stillness at the heart of everything." Moll stooped to pick up a stick and tapped it impatiently against the trunks of the trees as she passed. This part she knew. Oak's stories about his ancestors were campfire favourites. Oak went on. "Only most people move so fast they don't see the old magic anymore. They're too busy worrying about other things that they forget what's really important. But where ordinary folk see a feather fall, our people see the wind spirit fluttering between each fibre." "I know about the old magic," Moll groaned. "I've learnt about the tree spirits, and the water spirits, and the wind spirits, and the earth spirits. You talk about them all the time." Oak shook his head. "Moll, there is a difference between knowing and understanding. You've only scratched the surface of the old magic, but it's stirring again now, deeper and more mysterious than anything you've ever known, and this time it's calling for our help." They walked further into the trees, past the very first beech Oak had taught Moll to climb, and on past the several silver birches the camp's cobs were tethered to. Moll smiled as she glimpsed Jinx, who looked up and whinnied as they walked on by. Oak steered Moll's attention back to his words. "Our roles, mine as head of the camp, Cinderella's bull as Duckerer, our fortune-teller, and Mushius the keeper of the songs, they all fall to Frogmore family, even though we've welcomed two other families into our camp, right?" Moll scrunched up her nose. "This is slippery talk, Oak. How's this anything to do with me?" Oak ignored her. "And those in camp over 30 years of age form the Council of Elders, whatever their family name. Well, there's another role in our camp, probably the most important one, and the only one I've never gone on speaking about before. Well, not to you, anyway." "What is that?" Oak paused. "The guardian of the oracle bones." Moll stared at Oak blankly. Oracle bones? She hadn't heard talk of those before. The path widened into the glade. The spring bluebells had gone, but the grass there was now long and lush. Moll noticed Oak's son Domino resting high up in the branch of a yew tree on the outskirts of the glade. So Oak had the ancient wood guarded during the day now as well. Moll tensed as she remembered why. Oak and Moll sat down beneath the oldest yew in the glade, and as Oak spoke he turned the leather pouch containing his talisman over in his hands. "The story goes that there used to be a silver stag that lived in Tanglefern Forest with 16 points on his mighty antlers. It was said it was the oldest and wisest beast in the land. On the day it died, our ancestors found it and took its bones. And these sacred relics became the oracle bones. Our ancestors believed that the guardian of the oracle bones, a gypsy chosen by the Council of Elders, could carve one question into the bones in his or her lifetime, and it would be answered by the old magic. The very first guardian was worried, even then, that folk were losing sight of the old magic, so he carved the bones, asking them if the old ways were in danger. He tossed them into the fire, and on removing them, he interpreted the cracks." A ripple of excitement fluttered through Moll. Oak's eyes were shining now, dark and deep. They revealed a message, a foretelling called the Bone Murmur. What did the Bone Murmur say? Moll asked. Oak drew himself up, and, when he answered, every word tingled down Moll's spine. The bones said this: "There is magic old and true that shadowed minds seek to undo, and storms will rise, trees will die, if they free their dark magic into the sky. But a beast will come from lands full wild to find this darkness with a gypsy child, and they must find the amulets of truth to stop dark souls doing deeds uncouth." Moll's heart was hammering inside her, thudding against her ribcage. I'm the child, aren't I? Oak leant forward and squeezed her hand, but deep inside Moll, something stiffened. Lands full wild. You told me that wildcats don't go leaving the northern wilderness, but Griff did because he knew he was part of something bigger than all of that. He knew he had to come. A wildcat is the only animal that can't be tamed, but Griff broke the rules. Somehow he knew you were the child from the bone murmur even before we did. A coldness locked around Moll. She was different from the others, and this was why. She shuffled further round the yew tree, away from Oak. Her shoulders bunched and closed. Oak stretched out an arm, but Moll was walled up, hardened against everything and everyone. Oak waited, and then Moll's eyes met his, and he gathered her back beneath his arms, to where it was safe and still. There she listened to his heartbeat, steady, strong, deep within his body. Do they know? Moll mumbled. The others? Florence? Everyone? Oak shook his head. No, not even Siddy knows. Just the elders. Moll watched the grass sway in the breeze. Why me? Why do I have to be the one fighting dark stuff and saving the old magic? Why can't it be someone else? You're Domino, he'd do. He's the fastest runner in the camp, and I don't think he'd fall asleep on watch if it was something as important as this. Oak smiled, a large, soft smile that stayed in his eyes long after he'd stopped smiling. You're brave and you've got spirit, Moll. Sometimes that's enough. For a cob chase, maybe. Not for some sacred bone murmur, though. Oak squeezed Moll tighter. You're enough, Moll. You and Griff, but now Skull knows who you are. You're in danger, the whole camp is, because he'll stop at nothing until he gets hold of you. He wants to destroy what the bone murmur foretells, because if he can kill you and Griff before you find the amulets, he can harness the power of the dark magic, a magic born in blackest shadows. The bone murmur warns that if the Skull succeeds, he will unleash his dark magic into our skies, and our lands will be torn apart by storms. Trees will wither, mountains crumble, and seas will vanish as every last drop of the old magic is squeezed away. And I meant to stop all that happening? Moll spluttered. Oak shook his head. You should be playing with catapults and fishing for minnows in the stream. No, not. But Moll was looking at him with piercing eyes now. She was getting closer to something, to what Oak wasn't saying. Wait. There's something else, isn't there? Oak skirted her look. Why hasn't our camp got a guardian of the oracle bones, then? We've got all the other traditional roles. Oak was suddenly very still, and for a while he said nothing at all. But then he turned to face Moll. You've no idea how much you fit into this camp, Moll, and I've wanted to tell you for so long. Our camp had 2 guardians. And they weren't Frogmores at all. They were your parents. The words hung in the air, and Moll's face paled. You come from a long line of guardians, Moll. But no, that's impossible, she stammered. Oak hung for his head. I've wanted to tell you for so long. Moll scrambled to her feet. My parents, but you said that my ma stumbled by the camp the night I was born. She clenched her teeth. And you told me no one even knew my pa. Her voice toughened to steel. You lied to me? Oak was on his feet beside her in a flash, but Moll edged away. Where are they, Oak? She cried. Where are my parents? Oak's eyes filled with tears. Oh, Moll, no. They're dead. Moll flinched. Her parents were dead? And yet there had never been any parents to remember before. Nothing had changed, so why did it feel like it had? She felt tears rushing up from somewhere deep inside her, and though she tried to fight them, they streamed down her cheeks. Oak and Mushy had lied to her when she trusted them and let them in. This changed things. This changed everything. She dug her nails into her palms, forcing back angry sobs. Oak stood before her, his hands outstretched. I'm so sorry. Well, not a day goes by when I haven't wanted to tell you, but we needed to keep you safe. If you'd known, you'd have gone to the deep wood to find Skull. The storm inside Moll swelled and thickened. Skull killed them? Oak looked down and then nodded. The tears fell faster and faster as Moll felt her past unravelling around her. She wanted to hear more, to find out why and how. Skull had killed her parents, but a terrible knot of sadness and anger was rising inside her, and the more she looked at Oak, the more the knot grew. She turned away. "Moll, please!" cried Oak. But Moll was already up, running. She tore through the grass to the far side of the glade where her and Siddy's fort balanced halfway up a yew tree. Blinded by tears, she scrambled up the tree and climbed into the fort. She could hear Oak calling from down in the glade. She bolted that door fast and covered her ears. And that is the end of your chapter. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.